The impact came without warning. One moment I was jogging along the familiar curve of Maple Street, lost in the rhythm of my feet against pavement, and the next, metal crashed into flesh. My body sailed through the air like a broken doll, the world spinning in slow motion before the ground rushed up to meet me. I'm Hope, and this is how my mother-in-law tried to kill me. The pain hit in waves, each one more intense than the last. Through blurred vision, I made out the silver Mercedes, Linda's car, its front end dented where it had struck me. She stepped out, her perfectly manicured hands trembling as she clutched her designer handbag. Our eyes met, and in that moment, I saw something I'd never witnessed in her before. Raw fear. "Oh God, Hope." Her voice quavered. I didn't see you. You came out of nowhere. Lies." The street was straight. The morning was clear. And I wore the same neon yellow running jacket I always did. I tried to move, but my left leg exploded in agony. "Linda," I managed through gritted teeth. "You drove straight at me." She took a step back, her heels clicking against the pavement. "Don't be ridiculous. Why would I?" The screech of tires cut her off as another car pulled up. "Hope." Michael's voice. My husband rushed to my side, his face pale. "Mom, what happened?" "She just appeared, Michael. I couldn't stop in time." Linda's voice had shifted, taking on that familiar wounded tone she used whenever she needed Michael's protection. "Call an ambulance," I gasped, fighting to stay conscious. Michael knelt beside me, but his eyes darted between his mother and me. "Maybe we shouldn't make this official," he said softly. "Insurance, police reports. It could get complicated." I stared at him in disbelief. "Complicated? Your mother just hit me with her car." "It was an accident," Linda interjected quickly. "These things happen. We can handle this privately as a family." Family. The word tasted bitter in my mouth. 5 years of marriage, and I was still the outsider they needed to control, to contain. "Michael," I pleaded, reaching for his hand. He took it, but his grip was loose, noncommittal. "Listen, honey," he said, using that placating tone I'd grown to hate. "Mom's right. We can say you fell during your run. Dad knows a great doctor who can treat you discreetly." The pain in my leg was nothing compared to the ache in my chest. Through the haze of shock and betrayal, I heard Maya's voice. My best friend who lived 3 houses down. "Hope, oh my God." She was running toward us, phone already at her ear. "I'm calling 911. "No," Linda and Michael shouted in unison. But Maya was already speaking to the dispatcher, her free hand gripping mine tightly. She looked straight at Linda, her eyes hard. I saw everything from my kitchen window. Linda's face went ash white. Michael stood up abruptly, running his hands through his hair, his tell when he was panicking. "Mom, get back in the car. Go home. I'll handle this." As sirens wailed in the distance, I watched my mother-in-law hurry away, leaving me broken on the pavement. Michael paced, making frantic calls, probably to his father. Maya stayed beside me, her presence steady and sure. "You're going to be okay," she whispered, but her tone suggested she meant more than my physical injuries. I closed my eyes, feeling the rough asphalt beneath my palms. In that moment, something crystallized inside me, hard and sharp as diamond. Linda had tried to break me, but she'd only succeeded in breaking the last threads that held my silence. As consciousness began to fade, I made a promise to myself. This wouldn't be buried like all the other accidents in the Carter family history. This time, I would make them pay. The hospital room felt like a prison cell. 3 days after Linda's attempt to erase me from her perfect family portrait, I lay propped up against starched pillows, my legs suspended in a complicated array of metal and bandages. Michael hadn't left my side, but his presence felt more like surveillance than support. He hovered, intercepting nurses, screening my visitors, and most tellingly, answering questions before I could open my mouth. "Such a terrible accident," he'd say, his rehearsed smile never reaching his eyes. "We're just grateful she didn't hit her head when she fell during her run." The lie twisted in my gut every time he repeated it. I watched him now, pacing by the window, his phone buzzing for the 5th time in an hour. Linda, no doubt, checking on her damage control operation. "You should go home," I said. "Get some rest." He glanced at his phone. "Mom and Dad want to visit. They're worried about you. Worried about what I'll say, you mean." His jaw tightened. "Don't start, Hope. Not now." The memory of our first date floated up unbidden. Michael's easy laugh, the way he'd touched my hand across the table, how he'd stood up to Linda when she'd made that cutting remark about my humble teaching career. Where was that man now? A knock at the door saved us from another circular argument. Maya entered, carrying a tote bag and wearing the expression that meant she was about to cause trouble. "Hope needs to rest," Michael started, but Maya sailed past him. "Actually, what Hope needs is her statement taken by Officer Brooks. He's right outside." The color drained from Michael's face. "That won't be necessary. We've already—" "Already what?" Maya's voice could have frozen hell. "Already decided to cover up attempted murder? That's enough." Michael's shout surprised us all. "My mother would never—" "Your mother has been trying to drive Hope away since the day you married her," Maya cut in. "Remember the accidental food poisoning at Thanksgiving? The brake lines that mysteriously failed last summer?" I stared at Maya. I'd never connected those incidents before, had accepted the explanations Linda and Frank had provided. But now— "You're being ridiculous," Michael said, but his voice wavered. Another knock, and Officer Brooks stepped in, notebook already in hand. "Mrs. Anderson, I'd like to ask you a few questions about Monday morning's incident." Michael's phone buzzed again. He answered it, turning away. "Dad? Yeah, we have a situation." The next hour passed in a blur of questions and carefully worded answers. I told the truth. Mostly. Left out the years of subtle torment, the slow erosion of my confidence, the way Linda had systematically isolated me from Michael's affections. Some truths needed to wait. Frank arrived just as Officer Brooks was leaving. He filled the doorway with his imposing presence, every inch the successful businessman in his tailored suit. "Hope, dear." His voice dripped concern. "We're all so worried. The doctor I recommended—" "Isn't necessary," Maya interrupted. "Hope's receiving excellent care here." Frank's mask slipped for just a moment, revealing something cold and calculating beneath. "Family matters should stay within the family, don't you think, Mrs. Thompson?" "Funny," Maya replied. "I was just showing Hope some interesting security footage from my house. My cameras have a perfect view of Maple Street. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Frank's hand tightened on his briefcase. Michael stopped his pacing. "Maya," I said quietly, "could you give us a minute?" She squeezed my hand before leaving, shooting a warning look at both men. "Hope," Frank began once we were alone, "you're part of this family now, and family protects its own. Surely you understand that what happened was unfortunate, but pursuing this will only hurt everyone involved." I thought of Linda's face just before she hit me, of Michael's immediate impulse to protect her, of all the accidents I'd dismissed over the years. "You're right, Frank," I said, watching relief flood his features. "Family does protect its own. I'm just starting to realize that I was never really part of yours." Michael made a strangled sound, but Frank merely nodded, as if I'd confirmed something he'd always known. "Be very careful about your next moves, Hope," he said softly. "Some games are more dangerous than others." As they left, I touched the phone Maya had slipped into my tote bag, containing what she'd called insurance. Whatever game the Carters were playing, they were about to learn I had a few moves of my own. The physical therapy room smelled of antiseptic and defeat. 2 weeks after leaving the hospital, I watched my reflection in the wall-length mirror as I gripped the parallel bars, my knuckles white with effort. The security footage from Maya's house burned a hole in my pocket, saved on a USB drive I kept with me at all times. "Looking much better, Hope," Samantha said, steadying my elbow. My coworker had volunteered to drive me to therapy when Michael was too busy with work. She'd been unusually invested in my recovery, something I hadn't questioned until now. You seem to know an awful lot about physical therapy, I said, watching her face in the mirror. Her hands stilled for a fraction of a second. I had a similar injury once. Car accident? Something like that. Her tone carried weight, and when our eyes met in the mirror, I saw recognition there, the kind that comes from shared trauma. The therapy room door opened, and Linda swept in like a perfectly coiffed hurricane. Hope, darling, I've been trying to reach you. My grip tightened on the bars. Samantha's hand pressed firmly against my back, grounding me. What a pleasant surprise, Linda continued, her smile sharp as broken glass. And who might this be? I'm Samantha, Hope's friend. Linda's eyes narrowed. Friend? How lovely. Though I thought Maya was handling Hope's appointments. Plans change, I said, taking a shaky step forward, like people's intentions. The barb hit home. Linda's smile flickered. Speaking of intentions, I had lunch with Caroline Brooks yesterday, Officer Brooks's wife. Such an interesting conversation about false police reports and their consequences. My stomach clenched, but before I could respond, Samantha spoke up. Mrs. Carter, I believe you know my uncle, Judge Reed. The color drained from Linda's face. Reed? You're Martin Reed's niece? The very same. He's very interested in local justice these days, especially cases involving pattern behavior. Linda's handbag creaked under her grip. Hope, we need to talk. Privately. Actually, I said, finding strength in Samantha's steady presence. I think we're done talking. You ungrateful. Linda caught herself, smoothing her expression. I've only ever wanted what's best for this family. Like you wanted what was best for Catherine? The name dropped like a bomb. Linda staggered back as if I'd struck her. Where did you hear that name? It's amazing what people remember when they start looking into old accidents, Samantha said quietly. Especially ones involving family members who suddenly disappeared. Linda's composure cracked. You have no idea what you're talking about. That situation was complicated. Was she complicated too, Linda? Michael's first fiancé? The one who had an accident 3 weeks before the wedding? You're just like her, Linda hissed, mask fully slipping now. Trying to turn my son against me. But you'll end up just like Catherine, gone and forgotten. Is that a threat? Samantha pulled out her phone, clearly recording. Linda's eyes darted between us, realization dawning. You planned this. No, Linda, you planned everything. The accident, the cover-up, probably every unfortunate incident that's happened since I married Michael. I just finally started paying attention. The door opened again, and Maya walked in with Officer Brooks. Perfect timing, Samantha said, stopping her recording. Linda backed toward the door. Frank will destroy you for this. Frank has his own problems, Maya replied. The FBI seems very interested in those offshore accounts he's been managing. I watched my mother-in-law's carefully constructed world crumble in real time. She fumbled for her phone, probably to warn Frank, but Officer Brooks stepped forward. Mrs. Carter, we need to discuss the events of Monday morning, and possibly several other incidents over the past few years. As they led Linda away, I sank onto a nearby bench, my leg throbbing. Samantha sat beside me, her presence both comforting and mysterious. Catherine was my cousin, she said softly. I've been waiting years to prove what Linda did to her. I thought of Michael, wondering if he knew about Catherine, if he'd been complicit then too. The weight of everything still to come pressed down on me, but for the first time since the accident, I felt something else. Purpose. We're not done, I said, meeting Samantha's gaze. Are we? She shook her head. Linda's just the beginning. Frank's empire is built on buried secrets, and it's time they all came to light. I nodded, understanding now that my revenge had become something larger than myself. Then let's bring it all down. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday, hand-delivered to Maya's house where I'd been staying since Linda's arrest. Inside was a single photograph. Catherine, Michael's first fiancée, standing in front of the Carter family lake house. She was smiling, unaware that within weeks she'd vanish without a trace. On the back, in precise handwriting, "Some secrets stay buried. Ask about the boathouse." I set the photo on Maya's kitchen table where Samantha and Officer Brooks studied it. The morning light made everything feel too sharp, too real. Frank's handwriting. Samantha confirmed, her fingers tracing the edges. He's getting desperate. Officer Brooks leaned back, his coffee untouched. The lake house has been searched before. Nothing turned up. Because they weren't looking in the right place, Maya said, entering with her laptop. I've been digging through building permits. The boathouse was renovated right after Catherine disappeared. New foundation, complete interior rebuild. My phone buzzed. Michael again. 37 missed calls since his mother's arrest. I let it ring. Hope. Samantha's voice was gentle but firm. We need to discuss Michael's involvement. The front door opened before I could respond. Eli, Maya's husband, rushed in. You need to see this. He turned on the TV where Frank stood at a podium outside the police station. These allegations against my wife are completely unfounded. His voice filled the room. Hope Anderson has a history of mental instability, documented by several healthcare professionals. Her accusations are a desperate attempt to extort money from our family during a difficult time in her marriage. The camera panned to Michael, standing supportively beside his father. My stomach lurched. Those medical records, I whispered. They're fake. Of course they are, Maya said. But Frank has half the town's doctors in his pocket. They'll back him up. Officer Brooks stood, straightening his jacket. This complicates things. A judge might question your credibility now. That's what they want, Samantha said. To discredit Hope before we can prove anything about Catherine. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Michael. Please come home. We can fix this. The words blurred as memories flooded back. Michael's proposal at the lake house. Frank's too keen interest in showing me the renovated boathouse. Linda's strange reaction when I'd suggested having our wedding reception there. We need to get to that boathouse, I said. It's too dangerous, Officer Brooks warned. Frank will be watching it now. Actually, Eli spoke up, the Carters' annual charity gala is this weekend, at their main house. Samantha's eyes lit up. The perfect distraction. No, Maya protested. Hope can't go there alone. She won't be. Samantha pulled out her phone. My uncle's on the guest list. I'll be his +1. I stood, ignoring the ache in my healing leg. I need to see Michael first. The room went silent. Maya touched my arm. Hope, not to reconcile, I clarified. To keep him occupied during the gala. He knows all my tells. If he sees me there, he'll know something's wrong. It's risky, Officer Brooks said. If Frank realizes we're investigating Catherine's disappearance, he already knows. I picked up the photograph. That's why he sent this. He's daring us to prove it. Samantha studied me carefully. Are you sure you can face Michael? After everything? I thought of the man I'd married, of all the signs I'd ignored, of his constant choice to protect his parents over the truth. I'm not the same person he married anymore. The gala's in 3 days, Eli said. We'll need a solid plan. Officer Brooks sighed. I'll get the warrant ready, but we'll need probable cause to search the boathouse specifically. Leave that to me, I said, finally answering Michael's text. You're right. Let's talk. As the others discussed logistics, I stared at Catherine's smiling face. She'd trusted the Carters once, too. Had probably loved Michael just as deeply as I had. The difference was, I now knew what they were capable of. Hope? Maya's voice pulled me back. Are you ready for this? I tucked the photograph into my pocket, feeling its weight like a promise. I'm done being the victim in their story. It's time they learned what it feels like to lose everything they love. The others exchanged glances, perhaps seeing for the first time that my quest for justice had evolved into something darker. But they didn't understand. Sometimes revenge isn't about healing. Sometimes it's about survival. The cafe Michael chose for our meeting sat across from his law office, neutral territory that felt anything but neutral. Through the window, I watched him approach, his suit perfectly pressed, his stride confident. 5 years of marriage, and I'd never noticed how much he moved like his father. "You look better," he said, sliding into the booth. No kiss, no touch, just assessment. Amazing what happens when you're not being terrorized by your in-laws. His jaw tightened. "Mom's under house arrest because of your accusations. Dad's reputation is Catherine." I said the name softly, watching his reaction. His hand froze halfway to his coffee cup. A muscle twitched in his cheek. "What about her? Did you know? When she disappeared?" "She left me." His voice was flat, rehearsed. "Couldn't handle the pressure of joining our family. We've been through this." I pulled out my phone, scrolling to the security footage Maya had enhanced. "Like I couldn't handle the pressure? Is that why your mother tried to kill me?" "That's not what—" He stopped as I pressed play. The video showed Linda's car clearly swerving toward me, the deliberate acceleration. "Turn it off." His knuckles were white around his cup. "The police have this now. Real police, not the ones your father owns." Michael leaned forward, his voice dropping. "Hope, you're playing a very dangerous game. Dad's already working to have your credibility questioned. If you push this, things will get ugly." "Uglier than attempted murder? Than whatever happened at the boathouse?" His eyes snapped to mine. Something dark flickered there, something that made my skin crawl. "What do you know about the boathouse?" The cafe door chimed. Frank Carter walked in, his timing too perfect to be coincidence. Michael must have texted him. "Hope." Frank's smile was razor sharp as he slid in beside his son. "Family meeting?" My phone buzzed. A text from Samantha. "Got the warrant. Brooke's moving on boathouse tonight." "Just clearing the air," I said, standing. Michael was explaining why he chose his parents over his wives. "Wives?" Frank's smile didn't waver. "You seem confused, dear. The stress must be affecting your memory. Perhaps we should call Dr. Stevens. He's very concerned about your mental state." "Like he was concerned about Catherine's?" Frank's hand shot out, gripping my wrist. "Sit down." "Dad," Michael warned, glancing around the cafe. "Let go," I said quietly. "Or I'll scream." Frank released me, smoothing his tie. "You've been listening to Samantha Reed, haven't you? Poor girl, still grieving her cousin after all these years, making up stories, seeing conspiracies everywhere." My phone buzzed again. "Evidence found. Get out now." "Actually," I smiled, feeling strangely calm, "I've been listening to Linda. She's been very chatty with the police since her arrest, especially about the renovation contracts for the boathouse." The color drained from Frank's face. Michael stood abruptly. "Hope, whatever you think you're doing—" "What I'm doing," I cut him off, "is finishing what Catherine started. She found something in those contracts, didn't she? Something worth killing for?" Frank's mask cracked. "You stupid girl. You have no idea what you're dealing with." "Dad, please." Michael grabbed his father's arm. "Let me handle this." "Handle me?" I laughed, the sound sharp and foreign. "Like you handled Catherine?" Michael flinched as if I'd struck him. For a moment, I saw something like grief cross his face. Then it hardened into something colder, more familiar, more Carter. "You should have just lied about the accident," he said quietly. "We could have been happy." "No, Michael. We could have pretended. There's a difference." As I walked out, I heard Frank's voice, low and urgent. "Call the lake house. Now." My phone buzzed one final time. "Maya. Surveillance shows Linda leaving house arrest. She's heading to the lake." I stepped into the sunlight, my decision made. The Carters had created this game, written all the rules. But they'd forgotten one crucial detail. Someone with nothing left to lose has nothing left to fear. I texted Officer Brooks. "Linda's coming. Let her find whatever you found. I want to see her face when it all falls apart. The response came quickly. Be careful. These people are desperate. I smiled, thinking of Catherine's photograph, of Linda's car bearing down on me, of Michael's practiced lies. Good, I typed back. Desperate people make mistakes. And I was counting on it. The lake house loomed before me, its windows dark against the setting sun. Officer Brooks's police cruiser sat empty in the gravel driveway, its presence both reassuring and ominous. Maya's text had warned me not to come, but the surveillance footage showing Linda breaking house arrest to race here had made my decision inevitable. I found the front door unlocked. Inside, papers littered the floor. Someone had searched the place in a hurry. Following the chaos, I made my way toward the back of the house, toward the French doors leading to the boathouse. Hope. Samantha's voice, barely a whisper, stopped me. She emerged from the shadows, her face pale. You shouldn't be here. Where's Officer Brooks? Down at the boathouse with the forensics team. They found something in the foundation. Something that... A noise outside cut her off. We moved to the window. Linda's car pulled up beside Brooks's cruiser, but she wasn't alone. Frank was driving, Michael in the back seat. They're not supposed to be here, Samantha hissed. The warrant doesn't matter anymore, I said, watching Frank pull something from his jacket. A gun. Call for backup. Samantha fumbled for her phone, cursing. No signal. Of course not. The lake house had always had spotty reception, something Frank had probably counted on. We heard Officer Brooks's shout from the boathouse, followed by Frank's deeper voice. Through the window, I watched Michael hesitate by the car while his parents moved toward the water. The evidence, I said, whatever they found, is bigger than Catherine. Samantha grabbed my arm. Hope, those renovation contracts? They weren't just about hiding her body. The foundation's filled with documents, proof of money laundering, offshore accounts, years of fraud. Catherine must have found them, threatened to expose everything. The pieces clicked into place. Linda's desperate attempt to kill me, Frank's threats, Michael's insistence on maintaining the family's reputation. This wasn't just about one murder anymore. Another shout from the boathouse. Through the darkness, I saw Linda stumble backward onto the dock, her hands raised. Officer Brooks emerged, his gun drawn, but Frank was behind him. We have to help him. I started forward, but Samantha pulled me back. Wait. The gunshot cracked across the water. Officer Brooks crumpled. Daniel! Samantha's scream betrayed our position. Frank's head snapped toward the house. Inside. His voice carried clearly. Now, Michael finally moved from the car, jogging toward the house. Samantha and I backed away from the window, looking for an escape route. The cellar, I whispered. There's a storm door that leads... The front door burst open. Michael stood there, something broken in his expression. It's over, Hope. Just let it be over. Like Catherine let it be over? My voice shook. How many others, Michael? How many people have your parents killed to protect their empire? You don't understand. He stepped closer. Dad built everything from nothing. The money, the connections, it's all tied together. If one piece falls, then let it fall, Samantha said. Let the truth come out. Frank's voice boomed from behind Michael. The truth? He entered, gun steady, Linda trailing behind him. The truth is that some people don't know their place. Catherine didn't, and now you don't. Frank? Linda touched his arm. Maybe we should... Shut up, he roared. Your weakness caused this. If you'd done what needed to be done that day on Maple Street, you ordered her to kill me? The realization hit like ice water. Your own daughter-in-law? You were getting too close, Michael said softly. Like Catherine, we tried to warn you. A noise from outside, car doors slamming. Frank moved to the window, cursing. Police. Someone must have heard the shot. Michael, Linda's voice cracked. Please, no more blood. But Michael wasn't looking at his mother. He was looking at me, And in his eyes, I saw the same coldness I'd glimpsed in the cafe. "The cellar," he said to his father. "We can make it look like an accident. Both of them." As Frank grabbed Samantha and Michael reached for me, I realized my fatal mistake. I'd thought Michael was trapped by his parents' manipulation, a victim of their control. But he wasn't their victim. He was their masterpiece. Sirens wailed in the distance as Michael dragged me toward the cellar stairs. "I did love you," he whispered, "but family is forever." The cellar door creaked open, darkness yawning below, and for the first time since this all began, I felt truly afraid. The cellar air reeked of damp earth and old secrets. Michael's grip on my arm tightened as we descended the stairs, Frank following with Samantha. Linda hovered at the top, wringing her hands. "The police will be here soon," she said. "We need to hurry." "Shut the door," Frank ordered. As Linda complied, darkness swallowed us except for the beam of Frank's flashlight. He gestured to a corner. "Over there. Make it look like they fell during a struggle." My eyes adjusted slowly, catching glimpses of the space. Old furniture, wine racks, and behind them, the outline of another door. The storm door Maya had mentioned. "Wait," Linda called down. "There's someone—" A gunshot cracked above us. Linda screamed. Heavy footsteps thundered across the floor. "Police, drop your weapon." Frank swung around, pushing Samantha aside to aim at the cellar door. The moment's distraction was all I needed. I drove my elbow back into Michael's solar plexus, breaking his grip. He stumbled, crashing into his father. "Hope don't." Samantha's warning came too late. I ran for the storm door, but Michael recovered faster than I expected. He tackled me, sending us both crashing into the wine racks. Bottles shattered around us, the smell of aged wine mixing with copper. Blood. "It could have been perfect," Michael growled, pinning me down. "We could have had everything." "Like Catherine had everything?" I spat back. "Tell me, did you help bury her here too?" His grip loosened for just a second. Above us, more gunshots, shouts. Frank's voice bellowing orders. "She gave me no choice," Michael said softly. "Just like you're giving me no choice now." "There's always a choice." Linda's voice cut through the chaos. She stood at the bottom of the stairs, holding Frank's dropped gun. "I made the wrong one for years." "Mom," Michael's voice cracked. "Don't. I killed Catherine," Linda said. "Frank ordered it, but I did it. Then I tried to kill Hope. All to protect this family's secrets." Her hand shook. "No more." Frank appeared behind her, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. "Linda, think about what you're doing." "I am." She stepped forward. "Hope, Samantha, go, now." Michael's weight lifted as he moved toward his mother. "You can't betray us. We're your family." "No." Linda's voice hardened. "We're just accomplices now." I scrambled up, pulling Samantha toward the storm door. Frank lunged for us, but Linda's warning shot stopped him cold. "It's over, Frank," she said. "The police have the documents from the boathouse. Officer Brooks survived. He called for backup before you shot him. It's done." The storm door burst open above us. Maya led a team of officers down the steps, guns drawn. "Hope!" Everything happened at once. Frank charged Linda. The gun went off. Michael screamed. Bodies collided in the darkness. When the dust settled, Frank lay clutching his shoulder. Linda stood backed against the wall. And Michael stared at the growing bloodstain on his chest where the bullet had passed through his father and into him. "Mom," he whispered, before crumpling. Linda dropped the gun, a wail of anguish echoing off the cellar walls. As officers swarmed the scene, I found myself frozen, watching the Carter family's carefully constructed facade finally shatter completely. Maya pulled me toward the stairs. "Come on, let the police handle this." But I couldn't move, caught by Michael's eyes finding mine one last time. In them, I saw something I'd never seen before. Clarity. Understanding. Perhaps even regret. "I loved you too," I said softly. but love shouldn't cost us our souls. Outside, dawn was breaking. Samantha gripped my hand as paramedics rushed past us. Officer Brooks sat in an ambulance, battered but alive. The lake house swarmed with police, forensics teams already processing the evidence that would destroy the Carter empire. "Catherine can rest now," Samantha said quietly. I watched Linda emerge in handcuffs, followed by Frank on a stretcher. Last came the coroner's team. The sight should have felt like victory, like the revenge I'd sought. Instead, it felt hollow, heavy with the weight of all the choices that had led us here. It was never about revenge, I realized. It was about truth, about breaking cycles. Maya nodded. Sometimes justice looks different than we expect. As the sun rose over the lake, I thought of Catherine, of Linda, of all the choices that had brought us to this moment. Some cycles end in tragedy, others in redemption. But they all end eventually. This one had ended in both. The courthouse steps felt colder than they should in autumn. I watched Linda take her seat at the defendant's table, her designer clothes replaced by prison orange, her perfect posture finally broken. Frank's seat remained empty. His injuries from the lake house had bought him a few more weeks of freedom in a hospital bed. Samantha squeezed my hand as the judge entered. We'd spent weeks preparing for this moment, but nothing could have readied me for Linda's plea. "Guilty," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the hushed courtroom. "To all charges." The prosecutor read them aloud. Conspiracy, fraud, attempted murder, and finally, the murder of Catherine Reed. Each charge landed like a stone, building the wall that would separate Linda from her carefully constructed world forever. When she was allowed to speak, Linda turned, not to the judge, but to me. "I thought I was protecting my family," she said, "but I was just protecting our lies." The sentence came down. 25 years. No possibility of parole. As they led her away, I caught a glimpse of something in her eyes. Not regret for her actions, but relief at no longer having to maintain the facade. Outside, reporters swarmed, hungry for details about the Carter family's fall. Maya ran interference while Officer Brooks escorted us to his car. "Frank's trial starts next month," he said, his arm still in a sling from the shooting. "The FBI's evidence is solid. The empire's finished." "And Michael?" The question slipped out before I could stop it. "Being buried tomorrow," Samantha answered softly. "Small ceremony. Linda requested no visitors." The drive to Maya's house was silent. I'd been staying there since that night at the lake, unable to face the home Michael and I had shared. But today felt different. "I need to go back," I told Maya. "To the house." She started to protest, but something in my expression stopped her. "Want company?" "No. This I need to do alone." The house stood exactly as I'd left it, a shrine to a life built on carefully constructed illusions. In the kitchen, Michael's coffee mug still sat unwashed in the sink. On the mantel, our wedding photo smiled back at me. Both of us so young, so unaware of the darkness lurking behind his family's perfect smile. I moved through the rooms methodically, packing what was truly mine, leaving behind anything the Carters had given us. In the study, I found something unexpected. A letter written in Michael's hand, dated the morning of the accident. "Hope," it began. "I think I finally understand what happened to Catherine. What my parents are capable of. What I've become capable of. I should have chosen you. I should have been brave enough to break free. Maybe then." The letter ended there, unfinished. I folded it carefully, but didn't put it with my belongings. Instead, I placed it in the fireplace, watching as the flames consumed his last words. The doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Samantha waiting, hands tucked into her jacket pockets. "Thought you might be here," she said when I opened the door. "I have something you should see." She handed me a small key. It was Catherine's, to a safety deposit box. We found it hidden in the Boathouse Foundation along with the documents. "What's in it?" "Don't know. Thought maybe we could find out together." I studied the key, feeling its weight. Another secret. Another truth waiting to be uncovered. But for the first time since this all began, I felt no urgent need to know. Some mysteries deserve to rest, I said, pressing the key back into her hand. Catherine led us to the truth she needed us to find. That's enough. Samantha nodded slowly, understanding. So what now? I looked back at the house one last time, at the life I'd thought I wanted, at the revenge I'd thought would heal me. Now we stop letting the past define us. We live. As we walked away, I felt something shift. Not the clean break of revenge fulfilled, but something more complex. The Carters had built their empire on buried truths and broken lives. Its fall had cost me everything I thought I wanted, but had given me something I needed more. Freedom from the weight of secrets, from the poison of revenge. The truth I'd learned doesn't set you free, but facing it does. I didn't look back again.